Ready?
Ready.
All right. What up? It's your boy High Cake Mizzle.
This is our homie Draw.
You already know season 2, and it's your boy.
Sammy.
And again, it's your boy season 2 of the
Recap Squad.
Yeah. All right. So we already talked about the predictions of WrestleMania and all that, yada yada, night 1 and night 2, and all that shit. Before we talk about our guests, we want to send. We all want to send our prayers to the victims. What happened at Grand Central 42nd Street? We want to send our prayers and speedy recovery, and nothing but the best for the victims that happened. I also want to say R.I.P. to my man Fox 5, because he was a battle rapper and a street rapper. You know, he's nothing like people thinking. Like, you know, I met him, I knew him. We never chill like that, but every time we see each other, it was always love, respect, mutual. We talk, chop it up. We all talk about rap, hip hop, battle rap, and all that. So we just want to give a moment of silence for Fox 5, and also a good, positive moment of silence for the victims that got cut, and speedy recovery and getting better. So we want to do like a moment of silence for all the above. So once again, RIP to Fox 5 and a speedy recovery to the victims that happened at 42nd Street. So prayers to y'all.
Yeah.
Cause we don't wish nothing, death on nobody, nothing. You're not even on your worst enemy. You feel me? So besides that, we got a positive brother here. I've been knowing him for a minute now, for years now. Always cool. He don't always perform, but one thing he been doing, but Sammy be doing too, supported. Even though he don't perform, he don't brag about it, he don't stress about it. He goes there, still support everybody. And I'm giving him his flowers. If I never did before, I'm doing it now. So I'm gonna give you your flowers. No, for real, bro. No, for real, man. You deserve your flowers, for real, man. He don't perform all the time, but he'll still be there to support everybody else. And we need people like Sammy, we need people like Just Jay. If y'all don't know who the fuck I'm talking about, he used to go by 05 Young Hov 05, but now he go by Just Jay, man. Give it up for Just Jay. Once again, bro, give me your flowers. For real, man. For real, man. You always been a real dude, for real. You knew how to support people from their bad days to good days and all that. First of all, how's everything with you? How's life treating you? What you been up to, man?
Lots of blessings been flowing, man. I signed my lease for my apartment. I renewed it.
Yeah.
Congrats. I work with kids, so
As you should.
It's a lot, but I love them to death, and I'm gonna see them tomorrow morning. But just a lot of blessings on top of blessings, responsibilities, but still blessings. So it's just like it's kind of going from one level to the next, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, before Just Jay's, right? You did have another name.
Yeah.
Young Hov 05. How did that became about? I know the answer, but you know the people wanted to know. You know what I'm saying? But I already know the answer.
High school.
Just please explain that.
I was a big fan of Jay-Z in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this was today's school. We're talking about MySpace too. So
Told that MySpace. right. So y'all don't know MySpace, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Next, all those throwback joints. But I just took his name, Young Hov, and I added a for you, and that was it. Too much.
Okay, so now you got a new name, Just James. What that became about? What made you wanted to change your name?
I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and as I started getting more into poetry, I realized I was like, wait, it made more sense for me to use my real name, which is Jesse Jones. Then from there, she kept on egging me until I finally changed it, and I was just like, okay, I gotta find something that matches what I like to write about, which is poetry. So I had to take the poet and then put my name in it, and then put it together from there.
So so Just Jones is your real name.
Yeah.
But Just James is your poet.
Yeah, the poet Jesse Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how that.
Nah, that's fine. That's fine. JJJ, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Triple J, you know, all that. What made you fall in love with poetry? What made you wanted to do poetry?
I did it in high school, but then in college I stepped away from it. So it's kind of like now that I've kind of seen like the open mic scene open up a lot more, it's like okay, there's room for me to come back and do this. And now coming back into it as a man and not a teenager, you come at it with a different mindset, and you then restructure how you execute the pieces that you write.
You've been going to, I'm not gonna lie, besides Jordan and you know and Sammy, because Sammy be going everywhere. So it's like you be at every open mic showcase, and like I said, you not only just don't perform, even if you get there late and not perform, you don't really brag about it. Yeah. You still know how to support people. That's why I said I give you credit where credit is due. But you be always outside, and I really respect your grind, man.
My thing is that like if you're not grinding, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're not learning. Then like on top of that, even if I don't get to perform, you still get to see and learn from other people who are on the stage. So if you can't say you want to be great at something and not study the greats that came before you. That's right. It just won't work.
I noticed you go to every single open mic a lot, and one thing that inspired me was when you did that poetry called like the Comeback Kid, and I've been meaning to ask this about it. Like, what was the story behind it? I just wanted to know. And the people.
It's actually a real story. Like, there are two lines what I said. One was, I had a teacher once tell me I wouldn't pass elementary school. That's true. That happened to me in third grade. So I was just like, oh, really?
Third grade is crazy.
You think you want to talk down on me and think that I'm not going to shoot past this? Now I got to shut you up now. I got to decimate you. I got to prove you wrong, prove myself right, and then dominate you in the process. So it's like, the thing is, it was sad because my teacher was also black. So like, you can't, like that's crazy. Like,
understandable.
if I told my mother what would happen, he would have been non-existent anymore.
No, I felt that. That. So, have you ever did you ever made a book or?
Yeah, I published a book.
You published? Okay, yeah. That's why I was wondering. I was wondering, how did it feel to publish your own book, your art, your everything that you put your whole effort to? How did it feel about that?
Well, I did that during the time when I was working from home, like during COVID, because the schools have been. Yeah. But the school was physically shut down, but online it was still there.
Right.
So I'm like, I got this book, I have this idea. You got all this time, so why not? Like, now is the perfect time to do it, because it's like everybody's wanting to know like who the next big thing is, what are you working on, why are you doing it, and everybody's stuck at home, so like you gotta find a way to like get yourself out there. Yeah. And it made it the easiest way to do it was just to do an ebook, because everybody was so scared of like touching things and this and that, whereas you could just on Amazon click, download, and it's there.
Nah, right. So you've been doing open mics on IGs and all that stuff too, cause I know I did that. It was just
I did like one.
You only did one
online, but once they started opening back up, like that's when I started to kind of do it in person, because it's one thing. It's cool to do it online, like on a session. I'm sorry, on a online session like a Zoom, but it's a whole nother story when you're face to face with someone.
When you're on stage.
Nah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was a good experience performing on IG, because it was other people that wasn't from New York. It'd be people from Detroit, UK, especially UK. UK was always having open mic, like for real, man. Like, definitely shout out to the UK open micers, man, for real, man. It was a good experience though, because it felt like we was there, but we wasn't there. We were just there in spirit and all that stuff like that.
But technically, you can say we were there.
Right. But it was good, like, you know what I'm saying.
And the reason I say that is my younger cousin, her father, he was a hip hop DJ in Japan. So I was sometimes like when I would hang out with her and like he would come on screen, and like you would hear like how they interpret what we do in hip hop. It's like, oh wait, there's a thing. It got legs behind it. Like, hold on, like this is a real like thing. And like once people started to treat it real, it's like, oh, there we go.
Any message you want to send to any young poets, what would you tell them, and what would you do?
Just start writing. It don't matter where you start. Just start, and eventually, once you get your ideas out on paper, you can then kind of go to work on how to reconstruct it and how to flesh it out. But get something down on paper. Like you can't hold it all up there, unless you write it down and then like you remember it so that you perform and stuff. But
Is there any advice that you want to give to people that, for example, like if they suffer from like writer's block? Because I know I'm guilty of that, and I know a lot of people that are like watching this. Sometimes when they write, they don't know like where to start. So, is there like any advice on that or no?
The first piece of advice I have is to become a ferocious reader. Because like if your reading skills are solid, everything else will kind of like fall in line like behind it. But if it's not solid,
Yeah.
it's not. It's the same thing I tell my students. Readers are leaders. If you can't read, then your foundation is you're done for completely. Unless it's a language barrier.
Mm.
That's probably like the only. That's like
Which
the only
is
excuse I would have.
understandable.
But
No.
the other piece of advice I'd have is just to, I remember my high school teacher saying this, like, you write the way you speak, but if you speak very well because you read a lot. So it goes back to reading, and
I love it.
the more you read, the more elegant you become, the easier it is to get your message out there. Because you, first of all, you know what you want to say and how to say it. Now, the other skills like reading the room, reading other people's personalities, looking at body language and stuff, that'll come. But the first way it starts is just being a strong reader at first.
Who do you find? Who was your influence when it came to poetry, like music with the poetry? Who was like your main influence?
Maya Jay-Z.
I figured that. I mean, besides that, I figured that part.
Maya Jay-Z, Nicky Giovanni.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who else? I'm struggling to come over the fourth one, but I'm gonna say Talib Kweli, just to, like the way that he like his song composure and stuff.
Nah, yeah, because I was telling my friend not too long ago, one of my favorite Common songs was "The Corner."
Yes,
That was
in the
so.
game that was my
Yeah. Like I felt like that record was so. It was so interesting. That's how I got to see Kanye's other side as a label mate. You know, because at the time I didn't know he had a label called Good Music. And that's why I was like, oh, he got Common and Kanye. I said, this is an interesting collab and whatnot. And then seeing John Legend and then rest was history. But The Corner was definitely one of my favorite Common records.
I'm gonna put. You remember the song "Go"?
Oh, hell yeah, of
I'm
course.
putting that up there too.
Nah, yeah. That's why I said it's Kanye. It's the fact that he produced the whole album was very interesting. That it was so like legendary, like, and I felt like that album I felt like that album was very slept on, for the most part. For the people, only for the people that really is a poet and really an MC. I really listened to that album, and that album was very. It was a good message. It was definitely one of them. Like 05 was a different year. Like
I was still buying albums and CDs at that point. So.
you feel me? Like that was the time to be alive.
On a train?
Right.
No.
Those were the times to be alive. You
Yep.
feel me? Like and whatnot. So that's like, oh my God, and whatnot. So yeah, that